Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Just Ignore It podcast with your hosts,
DJ Dave.
Liz Adams and Dave Adams. For those of you who might not know us, we are a husband and wife duo,
Happily married.
happily married with 3 kids.
Charlie, Jack, George.
And
Webster.
We live in Charleston, South Carolina, formerly Chicago, Illinois. We just moved here in early March of 2021.
Which is also my birthday month. Remember that.
Remember that. And yeah, starting a podcast has been kind of on our list for a couple years. After getting many requests from my followers and readers. For those of you who might not know, I have a website called helloadamsfamily.com where I talk a lot about lifestyle and motherhood and a little bit of style,
parenting,
recipes, all the things. And I share a lot of kind of candid peeks at our life on my Instagram, which you can find me at Liz Adams. And here we are. I would say Dave and I are pretty down to earth. We like to talk about all the things.
I'm perfect.
Dave,
Is the baseline.
Dave is perfect. And yeah, this is just going to be a place to have open conversations and fun and talk about parenting and life and marriage.
Other topics that you guys want us to talk about.
Yeah, we want you guys to write in and tell us what
Yeah.
you guys want to hear from us. But this is just going to be casual convos between a man and a woman.
Love.
And the name Just Ignore It came from probably maybe our
Small bar about 13 years ago.
probably like the first text we ever sent each other.
Yeah. How did you get my number?
Lauren.
Wow.
What up, Lauren? So Dave went to college with my best friend growing up, and she was my roommate when we lived in the city. And one night we're bar hopping around as young 23-year-olds do. And we ended the night at Burwood Tap, which if you guys live in Chicago, you know what's up.
You've been there.
You've been there.
To have gone
The
there.
best. And I just sent Dave this really flirtatious text that meant nothing outside of what I sent him. And
That can't be true.
so I sent Dave a text. It was like 2 a.m. and I was like, I got to go home. I had to work the next day and it was a Friday night and I lived 2 blocks from the Burwood Tap. So it was either on my walk home or once I got home, I texted Dave, "You're cute. Just ignore it."
And this is where I'm going to take the story over. So Liz puts this huge carrot out in front of me, and I take a big bite. And so I immediately get the text, and I walk out the front door of Burwood Tap because I knew that she lived pretty close by. And so I called her. This is like literally 30 seconds after she texted me, and she didn't answer. And
On purpose. I told you to just ignore it. I literally just wanted to tell you that you were cute, but I didn't want you to
I mean, I
act on
already
it
knew that.
because I knew that
I
you
wish
were
there
going
was
to
a way
just
to take a poll because I would like to know what everyone thinks Liz's intentions were with that text.
I just wanted, it was supposed to be flirtatious. I think I was like uber confident back then.
And then, I mean, I would argue you're still confident, but she didn't answer. So then I immediately texted her and I said, "Did you make it home safe?" ? And then she just ghosted me. She never replied, never called back. So I just went into the bar.
Your pen is shaking.
No one can hear the pen. You have to just ignore it.
So Dave went back to the bar.
And just cried and went home, went to sleep alone,
Well,
maybe.
that was strictly meant to be flirtatious, but it really, I guess it kind of was the start of our relationship 13 years ago.
I know.
But I feel like as I've gotten older, and it's funny, side note, Dave and I, like if we're ever arguing or we're not good, well, arguing is a whole other story. We'll have an episode
That'll
on
be
that.
a long episode.
But we don't like to fight. So I feel like a lot of times to end the argument, Dave will come up and hug me and say, "You're cute, just ignore it."
Yeah.
Yeah, honey.
After I've won.
But I feel like as I've gotten older, just ignore it has kind of been a concept that I like to utilize in my daily life.
Yeah.
Like I think it's
I mean, I think I've rubbed off on you because,
Dave always just ignores it.
you know, yeah.
But I think working in, social media and the influencer space for 10 years, it's, I think, important to kind of have your guard up and just ignore it sometimes. And I love Dave. I admire Dave so much because he has never been one that kind of gets caught up in the comparison game. He doesn't get jealous of other people's lives. Like he's just such a content person. And I feel like you kind of exemplified the just ignore it concept.
Well, it's very easy to be that way when you're already perfect. Thanks.
You're so annoying. But wouldn't you agree? Like you're a pretty
There's no reason to, there's a million sayings, but like sweating the small stuff and letting something affect you that you have no control over.
Yeah,
so
you're big into that.
there's, like if you have no control about it, like worrying about the outcome doesn't matter, because if you can't do anything about it, you've already done everything, then it's time to move on. And I try to like live by that. So like just ignore it is a way of symbolizing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why we called it Just Ignore It.
But it's
and
like,
Liz texted me that on my first text ever.
I mean, that saying also just like, why did I choose those words? It's just so funny.
Now I just get text from her that's like, don't forget to give the kids a bath tonight.
Okay, Dave.
Did you take the trash out?
All right. I love you. But just ignore it. I think especially too, as we get older, and I think in this day and age too, we're always kind of reminded, or it's so apparent to us. We're always like watching what other people are doing, whether it's on Instagram or, I think especially too when we become moms and people, kind of give unsolicited advice about how you should parent or where your kids should be and all these milestones in life, even in general, like even in your friend groups where maybe a few of them are married and, a few of you are single, and you just kind of feel like there's always these opinions or expectations as you get older. And sometimes you just got to ignore it.
Just ignore it.
So I feel like I'm so happy with the name we chose, because I think, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Can you just put the pen down?
My pen just got stuck in my hair for all of you that aren't watching us live.
Like, why is it in your hair though?
Well, you got getting mad at me for playing with it in my hands.
Can I just have it?
Nope.
Oh my gosh. Also, I just want to say that getting to this point of recording has been a labor of love.
It has not been that challenging at all. The microphone, for some reason, just didn't pick up on your voice, and we had to figure that out.
I think that's because you're so loud that you
we
probably
tried
are like
multiple different microphones, and it just didn't
you're
work.
like the octaves of 7 people
We
combined.
had to download drivers and make Liz talk louder, put the mic literally in her mouth. I'm 3 feet from it.
Yeah, the mic is literally at my lips, and Dave is like 3 feet away.
I know.
Yet, still loud as can be.
But
Just ignore it.
just ignore it, guys.
This is Dave and I.
Any questions?
So I'm really excited to just talk about all the things.
I know. And we need you guys to tell us what you want to hear about. And so we'll send out a poll, or you can email us directly, whatever you want to do. Obviously, you can always call me. But once we get a list of like the top rated categories or topics that you want us to talk about, then we'll nail it on.
So yeah, that's what you can expect. Is this enough time?
We got to keep talking.
I feel like we've been talking for an hour and it's been 9 minutes.
And 10 seconds.
What are we going to talk about?
I'm not sure. We're pretty boring. Where should we eat tonight? You guys, it'll be fun to talk about like relationship stuff because it's so relatable.
Oh,
how
Dave
we
and
live
I-
our lives. A great story is Liz and I went and grabbed lunch the other day, and she's like, "You pick where we want to go," and I was like, "Oh, cool! I haven't been to Butcher and Bee in like months. Let's go over there. It's gonna be awesome." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, but like, why don't we go to Leon's first and see if we can get a table, and if not, then we'll go to your
Why
choice."
don't you just tell me I'm annoying in the moment?
So that I did. So then we went to Leon's, got a table, and Butcher and Bee is still without Dave Adams.
We can
And
go.
If you've ever had their whipped feta with the honey,
I mean, it's amazing.
it's incredible.
It is incredible. I miss it there.
So we'll just talk about various things that Liz and I do on a daily basis.
You know, parenting, it's so funny to think about. I mean, I don't even like remember who we were 13 years ago. That 23-year-old confident gal. I was probably wearing like,
Nimble, athletic,
I actually remember what I was wearing. I think
pack.
I was wearing I think I was wearing a plaid skirt with a black turtleneck.
I think it was red and white.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a picnic table,
Okay.
but I was still into it.
I mean, you came a running.
Well, you threw like the largest carrot I've ever gotten. Short of you just like walking up and kissing me, and then you just ghosted me.
I wanted
And then I was like,
I didn't-
I'm going to win.
I just wanted you to know you were cute, and that was it.
I already knew that, though.
Or I wanted you to know that I thought you were cute. God, you're so ridiculous. But it's crazy to think of.
I should have just replied, You look like a picnic table.
Dave and I, and any parents out there ever feel this way. Like sometimes at night when you're just so exhausted and you're like, why are my kids still awake? Our house is a shit show. And
you just have to ignore that.
no, yes, but
Which you never do.
Dave and I like glance at each other across the room and we share this exchange of eyes of like, how did we get here? Remember just a guy and a girl in a bar.
Well, then two people love each other very much. There's something called a love handshake.
Stop.
Which we've done 3 times.
Oh my gosh, you guys want to hear a funny story?
No.
So when I was in 2nd grade, my mom bought me a diary. And it was for my birthday. And that day I also got my ears pierced. And I wrote in the diary,
Big day.
Dear Elizabeth. I didn't go by Liz until high school. Dear Elizabeth.
Your name is Elizabeth?
Or Dear Diary. Dear Diary. I am going to write in you every day. Today I'm getting my ears pierced. See you tomorrow. Love, Elizabeth. The next day, my mom took me on a walk. And I remember exactly where I was in the town that I grew up in. And we're rounding this corner. And she told me about the birds and the bees.
How old were you?
I was in
Don't
2nd
touch
grade.
my pen.
I was like, get that pen out of
You
here.
have to just ignore it.
And my mom tells me about the birds and the bees, and I was so appalled, like disgusted. And I went back and I wrote in my diary, and I was like, Dear Diary, my mom just told me that for 2 people to make a baby, a penis has to go into a vagina. I can't believe my parents have done that 3 times, period. Because I have me, my brother, and my sister. And then I never wrote in that diary ever again. I
don't
should
think
frame
I
that.
ever got the birds and the bees talk.
Well, the older we got then, did your school ever like send you to,
Yeah, sexual education, where they would put like a condom on a banana and we would just laugh.
like how old were you though? Like
I
high
don't know.
school. When I was in
I
5th
think
grade.
it was like earlier than that though.
When I was in 5th grade, they took us to the Robert Crown Center, and it was very serious. It was like a reproductive museum.
That's bizarre.
And it had like artificial
Everything.
vaginas that you would like, and you're in 5th grade. Doesn't that seem a little early?
Are you sure this wasn't like a lion's den?
Ew. No. Yeah, what's that? We have 3 boys. Like, what is that conversation going to be?
I'm just going to tell them to keep their pecker in their pants. That's what I was told.
But like,
I didn't always listen.
but when did you know that a penis goes into a vagina?
I don't know. Guys we're so like crude. I'm sure.
Like, do you feel like a friend taught you or your dad taught you?
No, I think like a friend had one of those like illegal black box cable boxes that would like
So you would just,
porn channel or something.
so
And then
that's
like,
how you learned?
yeah.
Ew.
Why is that you?
I don't know. Like,
Guys are guys.
but like, at what age?
I don't know, like 7.
Stop.
I don't remember.
Oh my God. That's
12,
going to be a
13,
scary,
14.
scary journey.
I'm still learning.
I'm just going to ignore it and I'm going to let you tackle that because once we teach Charlie, Jack's going to know like 1 week later. And then sweet George is going to be a baby forever.
I doubt it.
But that's going to be having all boys is going to be a journey. I remember I taught my brother, my mom was Madonna one year for Halloween, and she had these like very realistic fake boobs that I would wear a lot.
I did not know this. about
And
you.
one time, I got to like find a picture of those. One time I put them on and I sat my brother down, and he was probably in kindergarten. And I was like, Will, this is a nipple.
Oh
My brother's going to be so proud to be in this episode. This is an areola.
Mm-hmm.
But, he really knew the anatomy of a woman after that. So, Will, if you're listening, you're welcome. You're well prepared. So, yeah, this is the type of conversations you can expect on Just
Yeah,
Ignore
really
It.
deep, thought out
Thought out.
conversations.
This is all scripted.
Planned.
We really plan these out like weeks in advance. So this is
Yeah.
all we've just been reading from a script this whole time.
Yes.
So this is the type of parents that Dave and I are. This balance of
Perfect.
just
One
working
of us
every
is.
day to be best parents ever, but also ignoring it.
Just ignore it.
So here we are. Those are good stories.
Thing.
Okay, what else? Wait, don't pause it. We can just cut it. It's fine.
I want to keep that. That's how Liz talks to me most all the time in my life.
So one aspect of parenting is, so marriage. I think a lot of times in marriage.
How many times have you been married?
One. When Dave and I got married, what did you file our marriage certificate under?
I put it in a folder that still exists, and it said Dave's first marriage. Still on my first.
You're welcome. But marriage, gosh, I always laugh. Dave doesn't laugh at this, but I don't know if you guys can relate, but I communicate to Dave like he's inside my head.
Yeah. I'm not, though. I'm not in your head. And
Like-
I never know what you're thinking.
Even when I'm just speaking like a normal sentence, I don't finish it because I think he just already knows what that sentence is.
Yeah.
And he looks at me with these like blank stares. Like, what?
It could be as simple as I'll ask Liz a question. I'll be like, where did you put my keys? And then she actually thinks she answered the question out loud, but like nothing ever comes out of her mouth. And I'm like, where are they? She's like, I told you. I'm like, well, I was just staring at you and you literally said nothing. So that's how I have to live most every day of my life.
But I think that just means that in my eyes, we're just like one being.
We're not, though.
But
just
don't
have
you
to
wish
ignore
we
it.
were?
No. You guys want a quick story about our wedding? Speaking of our wedding day. So the guy that married us asked us he gave us a list of like 40 questions.
Oh my gosh.
And no, this is my story. 40 questions. And he said, just answer 5 of the questions just so I can kind of incorporate it into your, wedding day before I do the vows.
Like a get to
blah,
know
blah, blah.
you questionnaire.
And so there were literally like 40 questions, and it was like something as simple as like, what's Liz's favorite color? Like, tell me about the first time you met, stuff like this. And this is the guy that's marrying us, right? Like we found him on the internet and paid him like $400 to wed us. And Liz answers a question that says, do you have any nicknames? Or it was just like, do you have any nicknames for Dave? And she answered it and wrote Benjamin. And for some reason, like, Liz referred to my private parts as Benjamin. She, like, named him that. I have no idea why. But it was, like, kind of like a joke that we had, like, between
Benji.
Liz and I. Like, it's just, but she wrote it. And then we're standing up at the altar. And the guy, like, goes over Liz and he's like, and, the first time Dave knew he loved Liz was when they went on a date to, like, XYZ and they shared a kiss and, like, the rest is history. And then he's like, and Liz sometimes refers to Dave as Benjamin. And so I, like, start cracking up and, like, shaking, laughing so hard at the altar that
Also,
this is part. No.
A select few of our friends knew this.
Every guy that was standing up in my wedding knew this. Knew this because they would make fun of Liz about it. So they all start like cracking up, but like trying to keep it together. And then that's just kind of how it goes. It's just perfect. Kind of like good play off of our engagement story too. You have a way with words. And timing and big moments.
Do you know why I filled out that one question? Because
No.
some of them were so elaborate, and I was like, I don't want to write like 3 paragraphs. So I chose that one because it was
a sentence for 5 things.
It was a one-word answer. And then my uncle
What did you think he was going to do with it? Liz got my pen.
God damn.
Dang it.
I don't know. I guess I should have like thought out more. It wasn't like Pookie or like
Why even put a pet name? Like
Benjamin is so off from your actual name that like my uncle came up to Dave and was like, I feel like I can't say this.
I mean, I don't think people
was
under
like-
the age of 18 are listening to
He,
this.
he walks up to Dave and goes, he was talking about your penis, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, why did I put that stupid name down?
I don't know. But it's now part of our
But
lives.
you know
That
what?
was 7 years ago.
That was another instance where it was my wedding day and I just ignored it. I ignored all of our friends laughing and I was like, hee hee.
You also it was really hot out and we were getting married outside. And
We got married September 20th and it was like in Chicago and it was like 86 degrees, 100% humidity.
Liz and I were holding hands and like shoulder to shoulder getting married. Our ceremony was like 15 minutes long and
No, it was 45.
she whispers to me and she's like, I'm really hot. Will you move away from me?
I go, can you move over? I have sweat dripping down my legs.
And I go, we're getting married. Just stand here for like 5 more minutes. And so we didn't move,
so
and we got married. And here we are. I also had the flu, which was fun, but I survived.
So that's the story of Liz and Dave.
There's a lot of other great
Oh my
stories.
God,
We
guys.
could keep
we
going.
could just do a website.
We'll hit the engagement story when one of the topics involves either parenting, marriage, life. Because it's a great story, too. That Liz will try to interrupt multiple times because she doesn't like the reality.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed episode 1.
I don't know how we got to the wedding story, but we're just going to ignore it. We're going to come back next week. Lots
with
of
a
fun.
hardcore topic.
A new script. We're going to start working on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just going to be fun.
Fun.
You know, good chats. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
DJ Dave signing off.